Hello and welcome to the Life Laundry Podcast. I'm Gemma.
I'm Chippy.
Chippy's looking very ethereal today.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot we put this on. Did we put last week's up on YouTube?
No, I can't.
She's had a week.
I can't find the. I think I've deleted it.
Gemma Bray.
Chippy, for those of you that aren't watching on the video, Chippy looks like she should have some music behind her going. Ah.
This is my halo.
That's angelic from the sky and the light coming down from the skylight. I'm just going to move my chair down a tad.
I've got my tumble dryer on, Gemma.
Well, we can't hear it.
I know, but also that money is just ticking away.
Well, do you know what? Mike's away. He's away last night. He's away tonight. I don't know. I was walking around the house last night like a little schoolgirl. So I was like, oh, I've got all the lamps on. Oh, I've got the tumble dryer on. There was no one here to tell me off.
Oh. Yeah, my smart meter has made me realise how much my tumble dryer costs. I don't have a Derek, I have a smart meter. And it's a lot.
It is a lot. And the only thing I have used it for when I was giggling to myself was just to finish off some towels, and also on Clean Sheet Tuesday I had to finish off some sheets because it was a bit damp outside.
Well, I think also what this has taught me, I'm one of those people that I have a setting that I go to on the tumble dryer. It's my comfort setting.
Mm-hmm.
It's all in one. It's called my all-in-one setting. Anything goes in there. Everything seems to come out fine. But what I think I need to do is become at ease with the other settings, because, as you say, quite often, if you can dry stuff nearly dry outside or on a dryer, you just need to do that last bit.
Yeah.
I think mine automatically will just do a huge cycle if I put it on my favourite. So I think we're all going to have to get a bit more savvy with our appliances. Like my eco setting on my dishwasher takes about 80 hours. But if I was more focused on it, then it wouldn't be a problem if I stopped panicking.
Was it you who I was talking to, or was it somebody else when I said
else?
I do. I speak to other humans.
That's awful. I'm so upset.
You have to be careful, because some eco settings don't necessarily cost less.
Well, I'm going to put it on. I'm going to look at my smart meter.
Yeah, mine do. But like, I think some of the older appliances, I don't know how it works, but some of the older appliances are more eco based on the environment rather than cash. That makes sense.
Yeah. Oh no, exactly. But I think the thing is with eco, I could be wrong. Laundrettes might be letting me know. I think it is longer but less hot.
Maybe. Eddie.
So I think, what's Eddie doing?
Stop clip-clopping.
Oh.
Sit somewhere and lie.
Edward.
You?
No. Oh no, Margaret for a while.
She's gone.
Has she?
She's gone on. I don't know where she is.
Broadstairs.
Probably left her behind.
She went and she had rumour of the flasher and thought, that's for me. I'm off.
Yeah, so do check because you might be on a fool's errand.
Well, that's the thing. So I think it will depend on how much energy it takes to heat up the water versus it being on for longer. I had a bit of an incident last weekend, Gemma. I went to Derbyshire. My sister had an art exhibition. We went to Worksworth, very nice, in Derbyshire, very beautiful. You know when I do my impression of you?
Yeah. Oh no.
I've been coming from Derbyshire all this time. My sister had to keep kicking me and being like, stop, you're doing the accent again. And I had no idea. And I just spent the entire weekend sounding like I was mimicking the people we were staying with. But also I did have a moment where I was like, oh, I'm being from Derbyshire. I'm not being from Manchester. And Gemma's from Manchester. She's not from Derbyshire.
Where is Derbyshire? Is it next to Yorkshire? Is it near Yorkshire? Oh, go away.
Derbyshire is Nottingham, Derby. It's quite near Sheffield.
Okay. So Yorkshire.
If you're standing in Sheffield, this is how I do geography, in case anyone's wondering why I'm so shit at geography. You're about to have a little insight. If you're standing on the map in Sheffield, looking down at the south,
yeah,
Derbyshire's on your right, but down by your knee.
Okay.
That's how geography works in my head. So
okay. That explains a lot.
Yeah, it does. I'm not a geographer.
Oh my god, this is really annoying wasp.
Oh, well, why is Eddie not eating it?
Oh,
yeah. Oh.
Right, I'm going to let it out the window. I'm not talking to you, Eddie. You stay there. Love you very much.
Eddie, you're not going out the window.
Right, come on, bugger off. You are not welcome here. Go on. Where have you gone now? Gone out.
Sound like that's the sort of thing that Yvette Fielding says in Most Haunted.
Get out.
You're not welcome here.
Oh, no, not you, Eddie. Come here. Come back, Eddie. Eddie, come back.
We want to see Eddie.
Come on. I wasn't talking to you. Come on. I'm talking to the boy who thinks he's in trouble.
Oh,
no, come on. No, don't. Where are you going? Come on, they want to see you.
I do. Honestly, I could not love somebody else's dog more than I love Eddie. There is something about him. It's the world's best accident.
Whenever Mike's away, Eddie loves it whenever Mike's away, because Eddie gets to sleep on the bed with me.
Is he man of the house?
So he knows whenever like it gets to a certain point in the evening, like if ever Mike goes out but Eddie around about 10 o'clock, and if Mike's not here, Eddie like gets excited. He starts like twirling around. If Mike's not here after Eddie's gone out for his final wee of the evening, Eddie knows that he's got a really good shot of getting on the bed, and he pegs it up the stairs, and he needs help getting on our bed because he can't get up on his own. He's too little. You put him on the bed, but he does also does that thing where you lift him and he jumps at the same time, so you have to be careful that he doesn't knock you out, and with his head, knock your chin out. And then he spends the rest of the night not moving, like he's like a stone, in case he's like, oh my god, if she realizes I'm here, I'm gonna have to go back downstairs to the kitchen.
I love him. Honestly, like, look at that, everyone. That is a perfect dog right there. And I say that with two of my dogs sleeping right next to me. They know I love Eddie best. But
yeah, and then if Mike is actually just on a night out and ends up coming back in, and like Mike doesn't like the dog on the bed, he's like, get out, and he just sort of slopes off down.
Oh, Eddie.
But last night Eddie was not impressed, because he was on Mike's side of the bed, like properly sprawled out, living his best dog life. And then Ben had a nightmare, so he came into our room, which meant that Ben then superseded Eddie, and then Eddie had to still go down to the bottom of the bed, and he was just all like coffee about it.
Oh, you were Emma. Who's Emma? Your alter ego. Gemma, you were in a bit of a state last week, weren't you?
Oh, yeah. Listen,
we were lucky to get an episode out of her, and do you know what I said to soothe her? She's not going to die today.
Right, so if you listened to last week's episode, you'll hear that we recorded it. We recorded it about 1:30 to 2:30, don't we? That's when we record on a Thursday.
Yeah.
And this is what happened, right? About 12:30, I was listening to the radio, and I was listening to live commentary from the Houses of Parliament about the energy crisis and what Liz Truss and her pals were going to do about it, right? So I was listening to it because I was interested, And the presenter goes on the radio, I'm just putting in because notes are being passed. Someone's just passed a note to Keir Starmer, someone's just passed a note to Liz Truss, something's happening. And then he said, and I don't want anyone to speculate. My first thought was, oh my God, something awful happened somewhere in the country. And then about a split second later, I just knew exactly what it was. And that was it. I was gone from that point. And Chippy was like, it's fine. You've just been watching too much of the news.
Sometimes.
And then I went to, and then I was like, I had to spin. So then the news went on. I was like, I need to know what's happening. And then I had spin booked in. And I was saying to Mike, but by this point, everybody had changed into black on the, see, look, I'm going to cry again. I've been awful this week, everybody. I know some people think it's really pathetic, but I've just been so upset. Anyway, I said to Mike, I can't go to spin. Everyone's in black. There's a reason why everyone's in black. He was like, just go to spin, turn your phone off. You know, if anything happens, I won't text you.
Spin it. Yeah.
Just no, I'm not going to text you if anything happens. Turn your alerts off on your phone. I was like, okay. I went to spin. We had 10 minutes left of spin. And this woman, and I don't think she was doing it on purpose, must have gotten a news alert on her phone and just blurted it out. It's just like verbal diarrhea. The woman next to me, who was younger than me, just disintegrated into tears. I remained relatively stoic. I did cry a little bit. And the poor spin instructor didn't know what to do. This poor man was just like, because no one knows what to do. No one knows the protocol. We're like, we've not done this before. And he was just like, well, what do we do? Half a class wanted to finish, half a class didn't
function.
Wanted to carry on, So he just said, I'll leave it up to you. If you want to leave, you can leave. I didn't leave. But yeah, it was the most jarring way of, even though I was expecting it was a jarring way of finding out.
I found out because Joe was texting me on the tube. I was doing school pickup and I had kids running around. And I just got Joe sending me a text saying, oh, wow, R.I.P. the Queen. I was like, oh, thanks, Joe. Thanks for breaking it to me.
I actually have like physical feelings in my solar plexus and in my chest whenever I think about it. And like whenever
it's so strange, isn't it? Because no matter how you feel about the monarchy, which I don't think we should get me started on, she was a constant. Even my mum. So my mum was one when she came to the throne. And my mum was like, I've never, obviously, technically my mother is a Georgian, but she's not. She was just like, for the majority of us, we don't know anything but having the Queen. She was the most famous woman in the world. We're not going to have another Queen. Our children might, depending on George's babes, but like, it's a massive end of an era. And whether you like the monarchy or not, she was a very incredible person. And I think that's sad. I've got so many people banging on about how shit the monarchy as a concept is on my Facebook. And I just don't really think that's the time. It's not the time. I
haven't got anyone doing that on my Facebook. I think for me, I get emotional. I'm a very emotional person. I don't know if you guys know this about me or not, but I cry at anything. Like I cry. I'm a crier, right? I wear my heart on my sleeve and I just cry. Like even at like the start of the marathon, I'll start crying.
I cry at weird stuff like badminton horse trials. I'll cry the whole way through that. Obviously, if my animals, like when Mouse got bitten a couple of months ago, my mum, I phoned my mum and I was like, Mouse has been bitten. I need to take her to the vet, but I also need to take the kids to school. And she was like, oh, well, I'm supposed to be going to my exercise class. And I went, it's really bad. Because I never cry. She was like, I'm coming right now. I'm coming right now. And she literally just walked into my house. I was in my pajamas, holding the dog's neck together. And she was like, come on, into the car, off we go. And I'm sure that's partly because she was like, oh my God, she's broken. We've broken Chippy. She's crying. But yeah.
Whereas I'm the other end of the spectrum, in that situation, I probably wouldn't be crying, but I'd cry at silly stuff, anything that requires lots of people, a collective group, all doing the same thing.
Yeah, mine is shock. And I
Right.
never realised it until my sister, you and I had an incident a couple of years ago where I was really shocked. And that made me cry. And I phoned my sister and said, why am I crying? And she was like, oh, you always cry when you're shocked.
No.
I was like, oh. And she was like, yeah, it's the only time you cry is when you're shocked. And it is true. So although, you know, I'm sad about the Queen, I feel slightly emotionally dead about it. And, you know, I think King Charles is going to be fine. I think he's done enough. It was so funny, though, because my nearly 10-year-old was freaking out. He was like, I feel like I've been punched in the stomach. I'm really scared. What happens if King Charles is not a good... And then I was like, oh, you've been learning about Henry VIII. So you are concerned that we're all suddenly going to have our heads chopped off and that kind of thing. And I was like, it's not... He's very much into making banana bread and, you know, organic farming. Ned, he's not going to be chopping heads off. It's not the same. It's not the same era.
It's not the same. So
you've been
my
to
kids
Buckingham Palace, haven't you?
Yes. So I was about to say that. So my kids have been briefed for a while that I will be very upset. I was very upset when Prince Philip died. Okay, no. I was upset when Prince Philip died. When I walked in from Spin, I walked in and all three of them were just stood there. Johnny just gave me a massive cuddle. Ben was like, I think she's in heaven now, mummy. Like that. And Tom just was like, gave me a pat on the back. But yeah, so I said to them, I really want to go to Buckingham Palace to lay some flowers. I'm going to take Nana, my mum. She wants to come as well. We'll come. Ben didn't want to go. No. But Tom and Johnny were like, we'll come with you to support you. Right?
Yeah.
So we get to Charing Cross. We land in Charing Cross station, which for those of you, lots of you will know this, but for those of you who don't know this, it's like a 10-minute walk to the palace in Charing Cross. It's a little bit, okay, so it's not far. All hell breaks loose. Sirens going off, police running around. There was a bomb threat, right? My mum has got a dodgy hip and a dodgy knee, right? She's petrified of things like this anyway. She's petrified of London, right? Yeah. She just doesn't like it. I got Tom, Mr. Calm personified.
Yeah.
Linking my mum, going, right, come on now, Nana, we need to do as a place. We need to leave the building. She's like, what? What's happening? What is this normal? I'm like, no, Mum, we literally everybody is running. We need to pick up speed a little bit here. Johnny's like in a major flap because he's in a major flap about everything anyway. So that wasn't a good start. So we walked down the Mall and I'm like, oh, it's not much of a queue. Doesn't seem to be much of a queue. Famous last fucking word. And like, so we joined it like halfway down, and it started off with just like a slow walk. Essentially, we were in the queue to get to the roundabout. So they were queuing either side on the pavement, and to get to the roundabout took us an hour and a half. Right? And then from the roundabout, it was a further 2 hours to get to the railings of the palace. And I said to this policeman, how much longer? Because by this time, Tom and Johnny had forgotten that they were there to support me. They had gone into full-on moan mode.
Yeah.
And they were like, it's 2 hours. I was like, sorry, I can't. He's about to implode. We can't wait 2 hours. So we just put the flowers on like the grass verge where everyone else was just giving up, and putting the flowers on the grass verge. But then who drove past in her little car, gave everyone little waves?
Oh,
Little Camilla.
Camilla.
And my mom got excited. I just waved and take any pictures. I was trying to my mom's like taking pictures of literally everything. That's what my mom.
Camilla was like, is that Gemma Bray?
No, my mom just took a picture, and it's just like if you zoom in and zoom in and zoom in and zoom in and zoom in, you can just see a little bit of blonde hair. That's it. And she's like, that's Camilla. I was like, you can't ever prove to anybody that it was her. It was her. And then we went home. We got home without incident, and the train station was back open. And then my mum said to me last night when I went to pick the kids up, she went, so I'm thinking me and you joining the queue. I'm like, absolutely no way, Mum. I am not joining that queue. It's like 30 hours long.
My friend Natalie is manning the queue. So if anyone is in the queue and you see Natalie, tiny thin woman.
Is she helping to marshal?
Yeah. So I had an idea, and it was the first time. You know, we're always contemplating Chippy for Prime Minister. Chippy for Prime Minister.
Yeah. Or Gem for PM. Sounds better.
Gem for PM. We could do a joint
coalition. Yeah.
My latest thing was, as nice as it is, flowers, teddy bears, sandwiches, all of that, what I think would make a bit more sense in this day and age is on the railings of Buckingham Palace, you have card readers, and you have a big sign for all the charities that the Queen, I can't remember what you call it, patron of.
Yeah.
And it's automatically loaded to £5. Flowers cost minimum £5. Some of the flowers given are amazing and beautiful.
Can I just say?
Yeah.
I took the plastic off mine.
Did you? Lovely. Very thoughtful.
I thought so.
But for a lot of, like, the sandwiches are just going to go off and they're a bit difficult to dispose of, and there's lots of teddies in it. And I was like, if they had these preloaded to £5 donation card readers for the charities, then in lieu of flowers, you could go and buy a virtual batch of flowers.
Yes, you are absolutely right. That is a stonker of an idea, Chippy.
Yeah.
You go ahead in the opinion polls for that.
Well, because they just compost the flowers.
But I've got a theory.
Yeah.
Now, this is not my theory. This is a theory that I heard on the radio this morning, right?
Yeah.
Someone was saying, now bearing in mind, I'm coming to this from, I've been in tears most of the week.
Oh.
Monday is just going to be like, I'm just going to have to make sure I'm very hydrated, put it that way.
Okay.
But someone on the radio said, I don't understand why there's such a huge queue. Like, obviously we know why there's a huge queue, but the point this person was making was that surely in this day and age we can have a ticketed system. It doesn't have to be, because they would, have
what, and it vibrates, one of those things when it's your turn.
Something like you come back between the hours of blah and blah. It is not beyond the realms of man. Is that the right phrase? The skill of man, the whatever, to think up a way to, because essentially now the queue is in perpetual motion, right? So you are consistently moving for 5 to 8 hours or however long it is. But listen, it's important that the person concluded that the reason why is because it's potentially important from a spectacle perspective to have this optic of this 10-mile queue. And this is why I think, whilst your idea of, yes, amazing, that is an amazing idea, give £5 charity, the optics wouldn't be the same as a sea of flowers.
But two things. Firstly, also the grieving process, that people being all together and the queuing and the sharing of stories is a very important human element. Two, the flowers and the grieving thing only started with Princess Diana.
Did it?
Yeah.
I don't know.
It is not. It is a recent thing.
So did it not happen for like King George? I don't know. I actually don't know.
No, partly because he was a door old fucker, but like
What?
Door.
What?
Door.
What does that mean?
Serious.
Dull.
Fun. Dull. Yeah.
Dull.
But yeah, it was a Princess Diana thing. So it's a relatively new thing. And also that would tie in with the optics thing in that obviously now we've got social media and all of that. But my thing with the money is not everyone would do it. You wouldn't be banning flowers.
No.
But it would be an option. So people like me, who is quite waste averse and eco, I would prefer to tap my card and give a donation to the charity than to, whereas for you, you might feel like it's more personal to give flowers, but it might manage the waste a bit more, because they get looked at by the family and appreciated, I'm sure, but they do all just get dumped.
As well as going to the palace, I went to the local estate agent. That's still not estate agent, news agents, that's the word.
And I've looked, and Buckingham Palace is not for sale.
Also, when I went, London had completely sold out of flowers. So I had to get them from like the little wait trays before, and I sat on the train like a wally with the flowers. Anyway, also everybody, I got on the train, and just so everyone is aware, all trains on London on the southeast are now declassified until after the funeral. So if you get on a train and it feels really busy, please feel free to sit on first class. I have that from the guard. Okay.
I would also like to mention that if you're one of these people, did you see Prince Charles being cross about his pen? With loads of people on my Facebook feed being like, oh God, what an arsehole. He's so grumpy. Firstly, pens are fucking annoying. Secondly, he's king. He doesn't have to be nice. Do you know what I mean?
But this is the
he's
thing.
Not there to be nice. And thirdly, imagine your mum's just died and everything you do, apart from going to the loo, is being fucking filmed and pulled apart by every single person.
But also what you have to remember,
when my dad died, I was drunk for about 6 weeks afterwards, consistently, and taking diazepam to sleep. So,
but this is what people like, because if you are of our vintage, you know, all we've ever known is the Queen. Now, when the Queen came to be the monarch, is that the right case? I don't know if that's right. When she ascended, is that the right word? Yeah. There was not as much like media attention, right? So, and she did it young. No one really knew who she was. She went in clean. We've had years of Prince Charles. We know King Charles. We know how human he is, and I actually think it's lovely and quite refreshing. So I went to my local newsagents, and I walked past the church, which is next to the local newsagents, and it said, "Book of Condolences open," and I thought, oh. Well, I signed the Book of Condolences when Diana died, and I thought it's only right. Got fair's fair. Come on, can't do it for one and not t'other.
Don't want the Queen to be pissed off.
No, I didn't want her to feel left out. So I went and signed this book. First, I had to sit in the car to work out what I was going to write.
Oh my God! We're having completely different experiences of this event. Yeah, yeah. Go.
So I went into the church. Never been into the local church before. Lovely, right? Lovely.
I love a church. I love a church.
Candles. Yeah, lovely table. Much more room on my table than King Charles had on his table, I have to say. There was lots of arm room.
Lots of arm room.
Yeah, and so
poor guy.
One person above me, I think they thought they were signing the visitors book for the church. Oh. They had written "lovely building."
Maybe they were talking about Queen Elizabeth's Thatcher. Good old building.
And then someone else had written like a really long, really well thought out thing. But on the way out of the church, because I don't go to church regularly. The last time I went to church, they were still passing around the collection thing. Yeah. They had one of them tappers.
Yeah.
So I donated £5 because you couldn't donate anything less. It was £5 fixed.
Yeah. But it's so easy.
Because I was like the music, lovely atmosphere, nice touch church, tapped it, left, whenever you spend anything, it pops up on our phone, like on the app. Mike's like, I think we've been hacked. The church is
the church is stealing.
So no, the church isn't hacking us, babe. I've just given £5 to the collection. Why?
I'm mourning. I'm in mourning.
And I explained, and it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah. So we've talked about it before. My sister was saying to me, "Are you going to go and see her coffin?" And I was like, firstly, I mean, I went to see Lenin and Chairman Mao when I went on the Trans-Siberian Express. But that's partly because I was with my sister, who organises stuff, and I just blip around following whatever she does, she tells me to do. But we've talked about before how I have a real issue with lack of privacy after death, and the fact that your body has this existence. And so for me, obviously she's in her coffin, but if she was not, if it was open at the top, I just think that I don't want to be seeing people after they've died, unless I was a morgue tech. I think that's fine. If you've got to do postmortems and stuff, that I don't mind, but just general public, it's a no. But also the fact that she's in her coffin, the suspicious person in me is like, she could not be. You're just queuing to see a box. If you don't know she's in there. But my sister's going. But for me, I just think it's so funny because you're like, you've been with the flowers, you've signed a book of condolence. Whereas I'm like, oh, it's just never crossed my mind to sign a book of condolence.
My mum really wanted, Johnny signed the online book of condolences. There's an online one, I think, if anyone wants to do that. But my mum really wants to go and stand in the line to go.
You can say hi to my friend Natalie.
I said, no, I'm not. I'm sorry, Mum.
I think my sister's going to go in the middle of the night.
Mm-hmm.
But no, my friend texted me and said she said, well, I don't know. I couldn't work out if the queue wasn't as bad as they thought, or because she gets to go, whether she went without a queue because she's working there. You get to go. If you're working the queues, you get to go yourself.
I just think it's incredibly sad, and I'm just very sad.
Well,
and also nobody knows what they're doing, do they? Like literally, brands, shops.
Nobody knows what they're doing.
No one knows. No one's got a fucking clue what to do. No one wants to be insensitive.
As I said to my son, like when I worked in publishing, so I haven't worked in publishing for 10 years plus. When I worked in publishing, they had a book about the Queen ready for when she died. So he was like, I feel really discombobulated. I don't think he said discombobulated, but he was like, I feel really, and I was like, literally, there are people whose job it is to know exactly what to do. And the fact that very famously, there's a picture, and I'm going to really show my ignorance here. I cannot remember who was president after Kennedy. But there is a picture of the president after Kennedy being sworn in on Air Force One with Jackie Kennedy wearing her suit with her husband's brains on it. Like as soon as it happens, the next person gets sworn in, and I was like, it's the same here. Like as soon as she died, he is declared king. It's not this moment of flux, and there are people who literally, it's their job to know what to do next. And so for us, it's really weird because she's always been there. It feels weird to me to say King Charles because I'm so used to it being a woman. Do you know what I mean? Whereas actually so much more likely to be a man historically. We've just been very lucky. But, you know, behind the scenes, there are people who know exactly what's going on. And
not at Centre Parks. Oh.
No. Well, yeah. So it's really difficult because brands and stuff don't know what to do. And you're a brand, you're the same. You were like, well, I don't feel like posting anything. I'm just sad. I don't know what to,
I was just really sad I didn't post it.
I can post a video of me just crying into my tissues. It's just really difficult because,
and also I was very aware that I don't, it really annoys when people do that performative thing, like when they post something because they think they should.
yeah,
I didn't want to be, so I just didn't.
But then I have loved, because I follow quite a lot of small, not fashion brands necessarily, but the fashion brands I do follow have shared some amazing pictures of the Queen in some very cool fashion things. And someone was telling me, I'm trying to remember if this was something I shouldn't be sharing. Someone was saying to me that the Queen felt very frumpy when she met Jackie Kennedy. And they were saying to me it was really sad because she had such a long reign, because she was so old when she died. She was 70 20 years ago. She was wearing, we've got used to her wearing older lady clothes, more befitting of her age, whereas actually when she was young, she was an incredibly snappy dresser, very fashionable dresser. And Jackie Kennedy she was the wife of a president. It's not the same. She could be a little bit more she in what she dressed, whereas the Queen was obviously having to deal with mostly men. She was this iconic figure, so she had to have a certain
demureness.
And so I really enjoyed seeing some of her, like there's a beautiful picture of her. She must be in her late teens, early 20s, writing at a desk, and she's wearing what looks like, I'm sure it's not, looks like a Laura Ashley shirt dress, but it's got lovely little tie sleeves, and she just looks so nice. And I think, we're so used to seeing her with her like matching hat and sort of figure covering clothing, because that's what it's been for the last 20, 30 years, because she's 96. Whereas in fact, before we had any recollection of her, really, 40 plus years ago, she used to wear much more. So I've really enjoyed that aspect of it. I love it when people have dug out very cool photos of her.
I've got, I bought a book. I bought my little diary with the Queen on. Now I'm not going to write in that. That's staying. But I've also bought a book for the Jubilee of like lots of pictures, like similar, and there's a picture in there. I'll take a picture of it and I'll put it in the Facebook group. That's my favorite picture, and she's probably about 18 and she's dancing and she just looks like really happy.
And I just think she was clever and funny and tough, and it just makes me, I think I completely understand the arguments against the royal family, and it's not necessarily that I'm a real pro the royal family, but I'm just very wary of the alternative, Donald Trump. But I think she dealt very well with a hand that she was given, bearing in mind, I don't know how old King Charles is, 70 something.
73.
And although everything he's done has been scrutinised, he has had time to do other stuff.
Exactly.
Whereas her whole life, 2 days before she died, like she did not put her feet up. Oh, she's going again. Little lip wobble there. Do you know what I mean? And I think she dealt very well, and I wouldn't want that. I wouldn't want every single day of my life to have been like that. And I think she did it with great grace and humor, and I think that's hard to replicate. And I think if you're she's going again. I think even if you're not a royalist and you find the whole thing difficult, you have to admire that about her. And it may not be your thing and you don't have to mourn it, but you can understand why other people are. That's my opinion. Gemma Bray.
No. Oh.
Yeah.
What's been your positive?
They'll ask me to do her eulogy. I'll wait.
maybe they will.
My positive of the week, I mean, I think I had a migraine yesterday in other news. I can never tell. I always think they're like, my friends who have them, they can't see and they're sick. But I had this weird neck thing and I felt quite nauseous and like I had to close my eyes. And so maybe that was a migraine. That was not my highlight of the week.
No.
My high point of the week was, it was my mum's birthday on Tuesday. And my sister came down and we spent the day together. And I'd spent the weekend with my sister. I spent the weekend with my sister, no kids, Derbyshire, me being northern the entire time. Not even that northern, Midlands, turns out. And we went to, if anyone's from the area or going to visit the area, I would like to recommend now I call it Matlock Bath. Got told off by this Matlock Bath aquarium. It is like going back to the very best bit of the 80s. It had a smell about it. It was dingy. They had some catfish, some axolotls, and then an old like spa swimming pool full of koi carp. It was it was amazing. So my sister and I went to that, and it was like no kids, 2 nights in a hotel, no kids, did some planning for Gemma Bray, had a nice I did some work, Gemma.
Plumbing?
Planning, not plumbing.
Oh.
Come down, plumbing. Hey up, love, got trouble with pipes. And it was just really nice. So I feel like I've had a very nice time with my sibling and my mother. We went for a nice lunch, saw a newborn baby, felt quite broody. Yes, that's it. Family niceness is my positive of the week. What's your positive, apart from your circuit of memorial stuff for the Queen?
Well, it's a double-edged sword, my positive. So Tom came with me to spin on Monday night.
Right.
He was very angry with me until Tuesday morning.
Why? What happened?
Well, the last thing I said to him was, right, just relax, don't go 100 miles an hour, right, just relax.
Enjoy it.
Now, literally, I don't know where he gets his competitive streak from. It eludes me. I can't think. I can't think. So do you know how I've always said I normally hate exercise classes because I go really, really red, and there's been times in the past where the instructors stopped to ask me if I was okay?
Yeah.
The same thing happened to Thomas. Like, the woman who runs it is lovely. She's so lovely.
Did you go on a bike near him, or
he was behind me, right? So he was like literally right behind my right shoulder. And every now and again, I'd be like, "You all right?" And he was like, he seemed fine until the last 10 minutes. At which point she gets off her bike, never a good sign, right? She gets off her bike at the front and then walks past me, gets his water bottle off him, and goes outside the class to fill his water bottle up. Right, at this point, I can't even look behind me. I don't even want to know what sort of state he's in.
Good parenting. I don't even want to know. I don't want to look.
Anyway, so she gave his water bottle. So he must have gone through at least for 750 ml during the first 30 minutes.
He's a big boy.
Yeah. Anyway, finished the class, still nice and dark. Everyone's doing their wind down stretches. I turn around, "You all right?" And he's just leaning against the wall like this. I don't feel very well. I was like, "Don't fucking pass out or be sick. Please don't. You're going to make me feel awful. I don't know how to handle this." And he was like, "I won't. I'm not. I'm all right." So I'm like, "Are you okay? Head between your knees. Head between your knees. Head between your knees." He's like, "Don't make a show," because he was the same as me. I don't want to do anything. If anything happens, I don't want it to be in here. I can't handle the thing, right? Which is why I was like, "Don't do it in here." Anyway, so I'm like carrying out the stairs. Everyone's like, "How was that? Did you enjoy your first?" "Oh, it's great. It was great." He's going up the stairs. "Yeah, it was great." Got in the car and he just sticks his head between his knees. He goes, "You need to get me some sugar now." So I'm like driving to the garage, going, "Oh!"
Is he going again?
No. He was fine. Turns out he hadn't had enough to eat that day. But then, this is why it's a double-edged sword. They've got a new class. Right? So it used to just be called group cycle, right? Now they've got 3 classes, and we have ride rhythm, ride rush, and ladies and gentlemen, may I introduce to you ride race. So
the first 2 sound like sex moves, but the third one,
the first one sounds like a contraceptive method. Ride rhythm. Ride rhythm is like dance, like, so you do like, it's like really boppy and like you sort of like up and down off the bike a lot. I presume I've not been. Ride rush is HIIT, so high intensity, which is the one that Thomas and I did. And then you see, I might be going to ride race tonight. I've got 2 classes booked. I've got to pick which one. Ride rush, which is what I'm used to, or ride race. Ride race, it says on the description, for serious cyclists. In my dream world, right, I would walk into this spin class and they'd be like, hey, you've got team A and you're on team B. And like, may the best team win. Like, literally would be amazing.
Oh my God, we're such different people. Do you know what would happen if I walked in and they were like, team A, you're team B, which one's going to win? Do you know what I would do? Pull the plug on my bike and walk out. Like, I don't fucking care. There's more to life than this. You're like, it's my dream. So I feel like we've got all corners of life covered.
So I still don't know whether I'm a bit intimidated by ride race. Ride race is straight after ride rush tonight, so I think I'm going to go to ride rush, poke my head in on ride race, and then take a view on whether I'm going to go to ride race next week. Do you know? No,
I think you should go to ride race. I think you should. Come on, Gemma, do it for the laundrettes.
No,
you can do it.
I'm scared. Still like serious people who wear like the proper cycling, you know, like onesies. And like they have cushioned bottoms, cushioned cycling shorts and stuff.
Yeah, all the gear, not necessarily any idea at all.
I don't do that, but yeah, that's my positive for the week. I really should get another hobby.
Why? There's no wrong with your hobby.
And on that note, ladies and gentlemen, we shall, not just me shall, we shall, she shall, seashells on the seashell. Speak to you next week. Say goodbye, Chippy.
That's how I knew I was fired. Bye.
Bye.